Hello, everyone. Tonight we are stepping back, way back, over 10,000 years to a time when giant beasts roamed the earth and survival was a daily tooth and claw affair. Imagine yourself now, not as a gentle observer, but as a silent, powerful hunter, moving with purpose through the dimming light of a prehistoric savanna. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of damp earth and distant conifer forests. You feel the immense power coiled within your muscles, the subtle tension in your jaw as you scan the horizon. Before you stands a world of raw, untamed nature where every rustle in the tall grass could mean a meal or a deadly encounter. You're a Smilodon populator, a saber-toothed cat, and tonight you're hungry. And let me tell you, if you were actually transported back there, you probably wouldn't survive 5 minutes without becoming dinner for something else. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really enjoy what I do here. And as you settle in, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you. It's always wild to think about people tuning in from all corners of the globe, maybe as the sun is rising for some, or just getting ready to set for others. Now turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's embark on tonight's journey together. As dusk begins to settle over the vast ancient plains, painting the sky in shades of deep orange and purple, your instincts sharpen. The wind, which has been gently whispering through the tall grasses all day, now carries the faintest scent of your potential quarry. You are a predator of the late Pleistocene, a master of your domain, and your focus is absolute. You move with a low, deliberate gait, your massive paws barely disturbing the dry leaves and twigs beneath your feet. This isn't a frantic sprint. It's a patient, calculated approach, the very essence of a highly specialized hunter beginning its nightly vigil. Your eyes, adapted for low light, pierce the deepening gloom. You can make out the distant lumbering forms of a herd of mammoths, their immense silhouettes against the last vestiges of daylight. They represent a colossal meal, but also a colossal risk. This isn't just about catching prey. It's about minimizing danger to yourself. Every step, every flicker of your ear is part of an ancient deadly dance that has played out for millennia. One legitimate historical event that truly sets the stage for our understanding of Smilodon's world is the last glacial maximum, which occurred roughly 26 to 500 to 19,000 years ago. This period saw vast ice sheets covering much of North America and Eurasia, dramatically altering landscapes and forcing animal populations to adapt or perish. The Smilodon species, while primarily found in the Americas, thrived in the varied environments bordering these ice sheets, from cold savannas to open woodlands, hunting the large herbivores that also adapted to these conditions. This environmental backdrop meant that Smilodon lived in a world of dramatic climatic shifts, which constantly influenced prey availability and hunting strategies. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, Smilodon's brain, relative to its massive body size, was actually smaller than that of a modern lion. This might make you think it wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but it highlights that its hunting success relied more on brute force, specialized anatomy, and ambush tactics than on complex strategic planning. It was built for power, not necessarily for outsmarting its dinner with elaborate schemes. So while you're feeling incredibly powerful, maybe don't try to solve any ancient Egyptian riddles just yet. Paleontologists still debate whether the smaller brain size of Smilodon compared to modern big cats indicates a less complex social structure, or if their specialized hunting niche simply didn't require the same level of cognitive adaptability. Was it a solitary instinct-driven killer or capable of rudimentary pack cooperation? Regardless, as you pad silently through the tall grass, your primeval mind is focused on one thing: the hunt. The subtle movements of the air, the distant trumpeting of a mammoth, the almost imperceptible tremor of the ground. These are the signals you process, guiding your silent approach. The world around you is a symphony of raw, untamed life, and you are one of its most formidable instruments. As you continue your silent stalk across the moonlit plain, the true marvel of your being comes into sharp focus: your manieren. Antominarda. You are not just a cat, you are a finely tuned hunting machine, optimized over millennia for one purpose: to bring down large, powerful prey. Every bone, every muscle, every specialized feature contributes to this singular goal. You feel the low-slung, incredibly muscular build of your body, a powerhouse of primeval strength. Unlike modern big cats built for long chases, you are designed for explosive power and a crushing takedown. Your front limbs, for instance, are incredibly robust. Imagine the sheer bulk of muscle in your shoulders and forearms, far more developed than those of a lion or tiger. These aren't just for running, they are for grappling, for holding on to a struggling behemoth, and for delivering devastating blows. You can feel the powerful tendons taut and ready beneath your shaggy fur. This immense upper body strength would have been crucial for wrestling down animals that outweighed you by many times, effectively anchoring them to the ground during the final critical attack. It's like being a furry prehistoric bodybuilder, constantly ready for a lift. A legitimate historical event in the evolutionary history of Smilodon is the Great American Biotic Interchange, which began roughly 3 million years ago. This event saw the formation of the Isthmus of Panama, allowing animals from North and South America to cross between continents. Smilodon populator. The largest species evolved in South America, reaching truly colossal sizes, often weighing over 500 pounds, making it one of the largest felids to ever exist. Its ancestors, however, originated in North America and migrated south. This intercontinental mingling of species created new competitive pressures and opportunities, shaping the specialized hunters, like Smilodon, we're examining tonight. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, despite their fearsome reputation, Smilodon had a surprisingly weak bite force when compared proportionately to other large felids like lions or jaguars. That sounds counterintuitive given those enormous fangs, doesn't it? But here's the trick: their jaws were designed for a wide gape, allowing them to open their mouths to an incredible 120 degrees, nearly twice as wide as a modern lion. This allowed them to deploy those massive canines with precision, not for crushing bones, but for shearing through soft tissue. It's like having a surgical scalpel rather than a sledgehammer, but a very, very big scalpel. Paleontologists still debate whether Smilodon's relatively weaker bite force, coupled with its immense canines, indicates a hunting strategy that prioritized severing major blood vessels and windpipes in the neck, rather than crushing the skull or spine. Was it a swift, precise killing machine, or did it rely more on the sheer trauma of the stab wound? Regardless, as you continue your silent advance, you can feel the readiness of your unique body, every muscle poised for that explosive burst of power that will define your next meal. The cold, crisp air fills your lungs, and the ancient landscape seems to hold its breath, waiting for the apex predator to make its move. The air grows colder now, carrying the faint scent of fear mixed with the earthy musk of your intended prey. You are not a pursuit predator. You are an ambush hunter, a master of patience and explosive surprise. Every fiber of your being is geared towards that single crushing pounce. You feel your muscles tensing, your body sinking lower to the ground as you navigate the dense undergrowth, carefully avoiding snapping twigs or rustling leaves that could betray your presence. This silent ballet of predator and prey played out under the vast indifferent sky is the very core of your existence. You pick your spot with uncanny precision, instinctively understanding the terrain. Perhaps a thicket of ancient conifers or a natural depression in the land, offering concealment until the last possible moment. You don't chase for miles like a dire wolf. You wait. And you wait. Your massive, powerful legs, though not built for endurance running, are coiled springs ready to unleash a burst of speed over a very short distance. The strategy is simple: get close, explode forward, and incapacitate with overwhelming force. It's a bit like playing hide and seek, except the stakes are incredibly high and the loser becomes dinner. A legitimate historical event that highlights the importance of ambush tactics for Smilodon is the discovery of the La Brea tar pits was in Los Angeles. These natural asphalt seeps acted as deadly traps, preserving countless remains of Ice Age animals, including thousands of Smilodon. The sheer number of Smilodon found there suggests that they were effective at ambushing animals that became ensnared, or perhaps even ambushing other predators drawn to trap prey. The abundance of such a powerful predator in a single location speaks volumes about their hunting prowess in such environments. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, Smilodon's tail was surprisingly short and stubby compared to modern big cats. A long tail acts as a counterbalance essential for agility and making sharp turns at high speeds, something a cheetah relies on. The Smilodon's short tail further confirms its role as an ambush hunter, not a long-distance chaser. It didn't need a fancy rudder. It just needed to get there fast and hit hard. So if you were a Smilodon and someone asked you to perform acrobatic turns, you'd probably just look at them with mild confusion. Paleontologists still debate whether the Smilodon's reliance on ambush meant it was exclusively a forest or scrubland hunter, or if it could effectively use smaller topographical features in open grasslands for concealment. Did they always need thick cover, or could they make do with subtle dips and rises in the terrain? Regardless, as you lie in wait completely still, every nerve ending is attuned to the subtle shifts in the wind, the distant sounds of the herd, the very vibration of the earth. The anticipation is a primal hum within you, building to the moment of explosive action. As you remain hidden observing the herd, your predatory gaze locks onto a specific individual. For a Smilodon, the choice of prey was absolutely critical. Not just for a successful hunt, but for your very survival. You weren't just looking for any meal, you were looking for the right meal. This meant primarily targeting large, thick-skinned herbivores, often those that were old, infirm young, or perhaps isolated from the main herd. Why? Because these were the most efficient kills for your specialized anatomy. Imagine the colossal forms of the mammoths, their shaggy coats swaying gently as they graze. You instinctively assess their gait, their alertness, their proximity to other powerful adults. A healthy prime adult mammoth is a dangerous prospect capable of trampling you with ease. Your hunting strategy, therefore, isn't about challenging the strongest, but about exploiting weakness. You might be watching a juvenile slightly lagging behind its mother or an older male with a limp, its movement slower, its awareness dulled by age. This isn't cowardice, it's peak evolutionary efficiency. You're like a highly specialized surgeon, but for bringing down gigantic prey. A legitimate historical event that deeply informs our understanding of Smilodon's diet is the extensive analysis of fossilized bone assemblages from sites like the La Brea tar pits. Paleontologists have meticulously studied the bones recovered from these natural traps, noting the prevalence of certain species and the types of injuries sustained by Smilodon prey. This research consistently shows that a significant portion of Smilodon's diet consisted of large, slow-moving animals such as bison, Bison antiquus, horses, Equus occidentalis, ground sloths, Paramylodon, harlani, and yes, even young mammoths or mastodons. The sheer size of these animals is crucial because it aligns perfectly with Smilodon, his short, powerful limbs and massive canines designed for incapacitating large bodies quickly. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, while Smilodon is often depicted hunting mammoths, the majority of evidence suggests their primary large prey in North America were actually ancient bison and dented in horses. Mammoths were definitely on the menu, especially the younger or weaker ones, but bison and horses were more numerous and likely more consistently available targets for a skilled ambush predator. So while the image of a Smilodon battling a colossal mammoth is iconic, its daily grind probably involved more pursuit of a speedy bison. It's like imagining a chef who specializes in elaborate banquets, but mostly cooks really big steaks. Paleontologists still debate whether Smilodon's specialization on large prey made them more vulnerable to extinction as their preferred food sources dwindled towards the end of the Pleistocene. Was their unique adaptation a strength that ultimately became a fatal weakness, preventing them from shifting to smaller, faster prey as the megafauna disappeared? Regardless, as you make your calculated choice, your body is already anticipating the immense force required for the takedown, the strength needed to hold on to something truly massive. The smell of the prey is stronger now, the anticipation building with every silent, deliberate breath. The silence of the prehistoric night is broken only by the distant calls of unseen creatures and the increasingly rapid thumping of your own massive heart. As you draw closer to your chosen victim, a young mastodon, separated slightly from its protective herd, a crucial question arises in the mind of any paleontologist studying your kind. Were you a solitary hunter, or did you hunt in groups? This is one of the most hotly debated topics concerning Smilodon, and your behavior in this moment would provide invaluable clues. If you were alone, your strategy would be one of pure, unadulterated power and precision. Every ounce of your immense strength would be brought to bear on the target, relying on a swift, incapacitating strike. You'd move with singular focus, a solitary shadow against the pale moonlight, the weight of the entire hunt resting solely on your broad shoulders. The risk would be immense, but so would the reward, a massive meal all to yourself. However, some evidence suggests a different scenario. Imagine another Smilodon, equally massive and powerful, emerging from the shadows beside you, perhaps a sibling or a mate. The two of you would move in coordinated silence, flanking the unsuspecting mastodon, cutting off its escape routes. This cooperative approach would significantly increase the chances of a successful kill, allowing for quicker takedowns and reducing the risk of injury to any single individual. It's like having a very large, very furry wingman, only instead of trying to get a date, you're trying to get dinner. A legitimate historical event that fueled this debate is the discovery of multiple Smilodon skeletons within the La Brea tar pits, sometimes showing signs of healed injuries. While the tar pits are a unique ecological trap, the sheer numbers and some analyses of bone pathologies have led some researchers to suggest that if Smilodon were solitary, the injury rate would be too high for sustained survival. A cooperative hunting style might explain how they managed to recover from injuries that would otherwise be fatal for a lone predator. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, one argument against extensive social hunting for Smilodon is the showy lack of sexual dimorphism in their canines. In modern social predators like lions, males often have larger canines or manes for display and fighting within the pride. Smilodon. Males and females had equally impressive canines, suggesting less need for display dominance among males within a complex social hierarchy that might be typical of a large pride. It's almost as if they all just agreed to be equally terrifying. Paleontologists still debate whether the evidence from bone morphology and injury patterns definitively points to social behavior, or if it can be explained by other factors such as repeated scavenging from the tar pits, or simply a species that recovered remarkably well from injury. Was their social structure a simple familial bond or a complex pride like modern lions? Regardless, as you creep closer to your prey, the question of whether you are alone or part of a silent, formidable team is paramount. The air is thick with anticipation, and the world holds its breath waiting for the pounce. The moment has arrived. You've closed the distance, your target is within striking range, and now comes the most iconic part of your hunting prowess: the deadly bite. This isn't a grappling, tearing bite like a wolf's. It's a surgical, precise strike executed with the most formidable weapons in the prehistoric world, your massive, serrated canines. You spring from your cover with explosive force, covering the last few yards in a blur of powerful muscles and shaggy fur. As you launch yourself, you aim for the neck or throat of the young mastodon, a vulnerable zone rich in blood vessels and the windpipe. Your immense forelimbs, those powerful grappling hooks, clamp down, steadying the struggling beast. With your jaws gaping wider than any modern cat, you deliver the strike. Those teeth, up to 11 inches long, aren't for crushing bone. They are for piercing, deep, severing vital structures. Imagine the sickening crunch as your canines sink in, not through bone, but through the soft, vital tissue. It's a clean, efficient, and utterly devastating attack designed to bring down massive prey quickly. A legitimate historical event that revolutionized our understanding of this bite is the discovery and analysis of Smilodon's skull and jaw mechanics using biomechanical modeling. Early paleontologists hypothesized a crushing bite, but modern finite element analysis of fossilized skulls combined with studies of muscle attachments revealed the unique wide gape and the incredible power Smilodon could exert when its mouth was fully open. This research showed that the powerful neck muscles played a crucial role in driving the fangs downwards, rather than just the jaw muscles alone, confirming the stab and slice hypothesis for their killing bite. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, despite their fearsome appearance, Smilodon's long canines were actually quite fragile if twisted or impacted incorrectly. This is another reason why they likely targeted soft tissue and preferred prey that was already subdued or easily immobilized. A broken saber-tooth would be a death sentence in the prehistoric world, leaving you unable to hunt effectively. It's like having a magnificent, incredibly sharp sword, but knowing you absolutely cannot afford to chip it. Paleontologists still debate the exact sequence and duration of the Smilodon bite. Was it a single rapid stab followed by a retreat, or did the animal hold on and apply pressure to cause massive blood loss? The fragility of the canine suggests a quick, decisive action rather than prolonged struggle involving tooth engagement. Regardless, as your fangs find their mark, the very air seems to crackle with the energy of the kill, a testament to millions of years of evolution, culminating in this precise, powerful strike. The air is thick with the scent of exertion and the metallic tang of fresh blood. You've delivered the devastating bite, but the hunt isn't over. Now comes the most vulnerable and risky phase. For you, the Smilodon, holding on to your thrashing, colossal prey. This isn't a clean, immediate kill. It's a battle against overwhelming force. Imagine the incredible struggle, the sheer tonnage of the mastodon, trying to rise, to kick, to crush you beneath its immense weight. Your powerful forelimbs are locked on your claws, digging deep, but the beast's death throes are violent. A misplaced kick, a desperate roll, and you could suffer a broken bone, a dislocated joint, or even be impaled by a tusk. This period of intense struggle highlights the immense danger inherent in hunting such large animals. You're not just a predator, you're a combatant in a deadly arena where one wrong move could mean your end. It's like wrestling a car that's decided to become very, very angry. A legitimate historical event that underscores these risks is the discovery of Smilodon fossils with extensive healed injuries. Paleontologists have found numerous examples of broken limbs, fractured ribs, and even damaged vertebrae in Smilodon skeletons from the La Brea tar pits. While some of these injuries could have come from non-hunting accidents, the prevalence strongly suggests that the act of subduing large struggling prey was a highly dangerous endeavor. These cats often survive, but at a significant physical cost, indicating a life filled with brutal encounters. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, one of the most common healed injuries found in Smilodon was a fractured humerus, the upper arm bone. This suggests that their powerful forelimbs, while essential for grappling, were often subjected to immense bone-breaking forces during the takedown struggle. It's almost as if their hunting style was so aggressive they were willing to risk breaking an arm to get dinner on the table, or rather on the ground. Paleontologists still debate whether the high incidence of healed injuries in Smilodon implies a remarkably resilient physiology, or if it further supports the idea of social hunting where injured individuals could be supported by a group. Did they just have incredibly strong bones that healed well, or did their companions bring them food? Regardless, as you maintain your grip, every muscle straining, you are acutely aware of the danger. The struggle is intense, the dust rising around you as the mastodon slowly, agonizingly begins to weaken. The roar of the beast begins to soften its movements, becoming less frantic as the life slowly drains from it. The colossal body of the mastodon finally shudders, then goes still. The monumental struggle is over, and now comes the immediate critical phase, post-kill feeding. You release your vice-like grip, your massive fangs now free, and survey your prize. This isn't a delicate meal, it's a necessary, efficient consumption of a vast quantity of meat. You've expended immense energy in the hunt, and now you must quickly replenish it and also secure your claim against potential rivals. Your approach to the carcass is deliberate. Unlike modern cats that might start with softer underbellies, Smilodon's specialized anatomy, particularly those immense canines, meant they likely focused on areas that allowed for deep, rapid penetration to reach vital organs and muscle groups quickly. You might begin with the throat already open, or perhaps move to the flanks, tearing away large chunks of flesh with your powerful jaw muscles and specialized carnassial teeth. These shearing teeth, located further back in your jaw, are perfect for stripping meat from bone, not for crushing it. It's like having a built-in pair of giant curved scissors, perfect for portion control. A legitimate historical event that provides clues about Smilodon's feeding habits is the mighty analysis of cut marks on fossilized bones, found at various Ice Age sites. While not as common as tool marks from early humans, Some bones bear unique scoring patterns that correspond to the way a Smilodon's teeth would have scraped or torn meat from the skeleton. These subtle forensic clues help paleontologists reconstruct the feeding sequence and what parts of the carcass were prioritized. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact because of their long canines, Smilodon couldn't actually bite down directly with their front teeth, like a modern cat which uses its incisors to strip small pieces of meat from bones. Their massive fangs got in the way. This further supports the idea that they were designed for large, deep gouges rather than delicate gnawing. It's like trying to eat a sandwich when someone glued two giant pencils to your front teeth. Paleontologists still debate whether Smilodon would systematically consume a carcass or if they would quickly gorge on the most energy-rich parts before leaving. The sheer size of their prey, especially if hunting alone, suggests they couldn't consume it all in one sitting, leading to questions about how they defended or returned to their kills. Did they bury parts of it or simply leave it to scavengers? Regardless, as you tear into the fresh kill, the primal satisfaction of a successful hunt courses through you, a deep guttural rumble of contentment that reverberates through the quiet prehistoric night. Even a successful hunter like you, the mighty Smilodon, understood the practicality of an easy meal. While your powerful build was made for the thrill of the chase and the decisive kill, the ancient world was also full of opportunities for unscavenging. You wouldn't turn your nose up at a ready-made feast, especially if it meant avoiding a risky confrontation or saving precious energy. Imagine the distant circling of vultures against the pale morning sky, a clear signal of a potential meal waiting to be claimed. This wasn't about being lazy, it was about efficiency in a harsh, unforgiving environment. A large carcass, perhaps brought down by another predator or fallen victim to natural causes, represented a significant caloric windfall. Your keen sense of smell, far more developed than a human's, would lead you directly to the source. You might approach cautiously, assessing the scene for other claimants, ready to assert your dominance if necessary. In this world, every calorie counted, and a free meal was always welcome. It's like finding a perfectly good pizza, left unattended, only it's a giant, hairy, slightly deceased bison. A legitimate historical event that highlights the role of scavenging in the lives of Ice Age predators is the fossil record of bite marks on bones from various animals. While Smilodon is known for its distinctive deep puncture wounds, paleontologists also find evidence of shallower, less precise bite marks or even tooth marks layered over those of other carnivores, suggesting they sometimes fed on carcasses after another predator had already begun. This overlap in feeding traces provides direct evidence of their opportunistic nature. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, Smilodon wasn't just a hunter, it was also a compelling draw for other scavengers if it left a kill unattended. Its massive prey often provided more meat than a single Smilodon could consume, especially if it was a solitary hunter. This meant that once Smilodon had had its fill, or if it had to leave its kill for a time, other predators like dire wolves, short-faced bears, or even human scavengers would quickly move in. So in a way, you were providing a very generous, albeit involuntary, buffet for the rest of the ecosystem. Paleontologists still debate the proportion of scavenging in Smilodon's diet compared to active hunting. Was it a primary strategy or merely a supplement when opportunities arose? The argument often revolves around their specialized teeth. Were they too fragile for bone-crushing scavenging, or were they perfectly suited for tearing off large chunks of soft tissue from any source? Regardless, as you cautiously approach a distant cluster of scavengers, your keen senses are alert, weighing the potential reward against the risk of a confrontation. The ancient world offers no free lunches, but sometimes it does offer a very large, slightly used one. The scent of your recent kill, or perhaps a scavenged carcass, hangs heavy in the air, a beacon drawing not just you, but every other hungry mouth on the prehistoric landscape. Now comes the intense reality of competition with rivals. You are an apex predator, but you are not alone at the top of the food chain. Other formidable carnivores roam the Ice Age plains, and an encounter with them could escalate quickly from a tense standoff to a brutal life-or-death struggle. Imagine the guttural growl that rumbles from deep in your chest as a massive, dire wolf pack approaches their eyes gleaming in the dim light. Or perhaps the hulking immense form of a short-faced bear, standing taller than any grizzly you could imagine lumbering towards your hard-won meal. These were not lesser predators. They were powerful, intelligent, and equally hungry. You are in their world too, and asserting dominance over a kill is a constant, perilous negotiation. It's like trying to protect your lunch from a dozen very large, very grumpy colleagues, all with their own sharp teeth. A legitimate historical event that highlights this competition is the co-occurrence of multiple large carnivore species in the same fossil localities. Sites like the La Brea tar pits, with their abundance of Smilodon werewolves, Canis dirus, and short-faced bears, Arctodus simus, provide direct evidence that these powerful predators shared the same hunting grounds and undoubtedly competed for the same megafauna prey. Their simultaneous presence suggests a complex web of interactions, from direct confrontation to avoidance strategies. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, the short-faced bear was often even larger and more formidable than Smilodon, capable of running at high speeds over short distances, despite its massive size. While Smilodon was built for power and precision, the short-faced bear was essentially a furry tank, potentially capable of driving Smilodon off a kill simply through sheer intimidation and brute force. So while you're feeling incredibly tough, even you know when to back off from something that could literally swat you away. Paleontologists still debate the exact nature of the competitive exclusion principle among these large Ice Age predators. Did they specialize in different prey types or sizes to minimize direct conflict, or were direct violent confrontations common? The healed injuries found in Smilodon could certainly be attributed to struggles with prey, but also potentially to clashes with rivals. Regardless, as you lower your head over your kill, you are acutely aware of every rustle, every shadow, every distant howl. The prehistoric night is a constant reminder that even at the top, vigilance is paramount. The fierce competition for food and the sheer danger of the hunt meant that knowledge was power, and for young Smilodon, this knowledge was painstakingly acquired. Your cubs, growing rapidly but still clumsy and vulnerable, represent the future of your lineage. Their survival depends entirely on their ability to master the complex and dangerous art of the hunt. This phase, the training of the young hunters, is a slow, deliberate education stretching over many months, perhaps even years. Imagine the sight of your cubs still with disproportionately large paws and developing fangs, clumsily attempting to mimic your movements. You wouldn't simply hand them a hunting manual. You'd lead by example, demonstrating the subtle art of stalking the patient, wait the explosive pounce. Initially, their hunts might be playful, swatting at small rodents or birds, but gradually you would bring them to observe your real kills, teaching them how to approach a large carcass, where to bite, and how to stay safe amidst the chaos of a feeding frenzy. It's like teaching a very powerful, very clumsy toddler how to use a chainsaw. A legitimate historical event that provides indirect insights into the development of hunting skills in young Ice Age predators is the Fafrawana fossil record of growth stages in Smilodon and other megafauna carnivores. Paleontologists study the development of teeth and bone fusion to estimate the age at which these animals reach maturity and full hunting capability. This research suggests a prolonged period of parental care and learning, indicating that complex hunting strategies were not innate but taught. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, a Smilodon cub's baby teeth or deciduous canines were not as proportionally large or robust as their adult saber teeth. This means they couldn't simply start practicing with full-power bites from a young age. They truly needed to learn the precision and technique required before their formidable adult fangs erupted and were ready for use. It's almost as if nature protected them from accidentally damaging their own future primary weapons. Paleontologists still debate the specific duration of parental care in Smilodon and whether young animals remained with their mother for an extended period, perhaps even until they were fully grown and able to hunt on their own. Did they learn from a single parent, or did a larger social group contribute to their education? Regardless, as you guide your cubs through the dense undergrowth, their clumsy attempts at stalking are a constant reminder of the immense patience required. The future of the Smilodon lineage depends on their mastery of this brutal, beautiful dance of life and death. The world you inhabit as a Smilodon is not static. The vast, sweeping landscapes, the very availability of your prey, are constantly shaped by environmental influences, particularly the dramatic shifts in climate characteristic of the late Pleistocene. You are not just a creature of instinct, you are a product of your environment constantly adapting to its grand, slow changes. Imagine the subtle shifts in the air, the prolonged periods of cold or warmth dictating the movements of the herds you depend upon. During periods of colder, drier climate, vast grasslands might give way to more sparse open steppes or even tundra. This would alter the distribution of the large herbivores you hunt, forcing you to adjust your hunting grounds, perhaps following the migrations of bison or horses. Conversely, periods of relative warmth and increased precipitation could lead to denser woodlands and more varied vegetation, changing the ambush opportunities and requiring different stalking techniques. Your hunting strategy is a dynamic response to the planet's pulse. It's like having to constantly relearn where your favorite fast food drive-thru is, but with much higher stakes and no GPS. A legitimate historical event that profoundly impacted Smilodon's environment was the cyclical nature of the Prehistoric, Pleistocene, Glacial, and interglacial periods. These repeated advances and retreats of massive ice sheets across continents caused dramatic fluctuations in sea levels, vegetation zones, and animal migrations. Smilodon, species especially, Smilodon fatalis in North America, and Smilodon populator in South America thrived through several of these cycles, demonstrating a remarkable adaptability to changing conditions, even if their ultimate fate was tied to the very end of this era. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, while the image of Smilodon in snowy landscapes is iconic, many populations, especially in places like California, where the La Brea tar pits are located, lived in more temperate, even Mediterranean-like climates during interglacial periods. So while they certainly faced cold, their world wasn't always a frozen tundra. They were adaptable creatures, perhaps equally at home, ambushing prey in a chilly pine forest as they were in a more open, grassy savanna. It's like being equally comfortable in a parka or a light jacket, depending on the season. Paleontologists still debate whether the rapid climatic shifts at the very end of the Pleistocene contributed more significantly to Smilodon's demise than the disappearance of their large prey, or if it was a combination of both. Did the changing weather directly impact them, or just indirectly through their food sources? Regardless, as you feel the subtle nuances of the wind, the changing scent of the vegetation, you are acutely aware of the vast, uncontrollable forces that shape your world. Your continued survival is a testament to your ability to read these environmental cues and adapt your powerful hunting prowess accordingly. The roar of the wind, the rustle of dry grass, and the distant calls of other animals are now interspersed with an ominous silence that began to creep into the landscape towards the end of your era. As a Smilodon, you are an incredibly successful predator, but even the mightiest species can fall. The shadow of sheer extinction looms large over the late Pleistocene, and the factors leading to Smilodon's ultimate demise are a complex web of environmental shifts and ecological pressures. Imagine the subtle signs herds of your preferred large prey, like mastodons and ground sloths, becoming less abundant, their numbers dwindling with each passing generation. Perhaps the ancient bison herds you once hunted in vast numbers are now smaller, more scattered, their movements harder to predict. This reduction in megafauna, the giant animals that were your primary food source, would have created immense pressure on a specialized hunter like yourself. You were built for big game, and when the big game started disappearing, adapting to smaller, faster prey was a monumental challenge. It's like being an expert at building castles, only to find all the stones have vanished. A legitimate historical event directly tied to Smilodon's extinction is the Quaternary extinction event, which occurred roughly 12,900 to 11,700 years ago. This period saw the rapid and widespread extinction of a vast array of megafauna across the Americas, including nearly all the large herbivores that Smilodon preyed upon. While the exact causes are still debated, this event marked the definitive end of Smilodon's reign as an apex predator. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, one theory for Smilodon struggle to adapt to smaller prey is the very design of their magnificent saber teeth. While perfect for dispatching large struggling animals, these long, relatively fragile canines would have been a hindrance when trying to catch and kill smaller, faster animals like deer or even humans. A quick biting lunge at something small could easily snap a tooth, leading to starvation. So your greatest weapon also became your greatest vulnerability in a changing world. It's like having a supercar that's terrible in city traffic. Paleontologists still debate the primary drivers of the quaternary extinction event. Was it predominantly climate change, leading to habitat shifts and reduced food availability? Or was it the increasing presence and hunting pressure of early humans, who were also efficient hunters of megafauna and direct competitors for resources? Or was it a complex interplay of both factors, perhaps exacerbated by disease? Regardless, as you face a world with dwindling resources, the very ground beneath your paws feels less stable, a silent harbinger of the end of an era. The chill in the air isn't just the cold night, it's the cold breath of impending ecological change. Though your mighty roars and thunderous pounces have long since faded from the living world, you, the Smilodon, have left behind an incredible legacy, your fossilized clues. These silent stories, etched in bone and preserved in ancient earth, are the primary way we as paleontologists piece together the magnificent saga of your life, your hunts, and your ultimate disappearance. Imagine your skeleton buried deep within layers of sediment, slowly turning to stone over millennia, patiently waiting to be unearthed. The most famous of these fossil treasure troves are the La Brea tar pits, in what is now Los Angeles, California. Here, thousands upon thousands of Smilodon skeletons, along with countless other Ice Age animals, were naturally preserved in the sticky asphalt. You can almost picture yourself a Smilodon drawn to a trapped, struggling mastodon, only to become ensnared yourself, your powerful body slowly sinking into the dark, viscous goo, leaving behind a perfectly preserved record for us to discover millennia later. It's a tragic end for you, but an invaluable gift to science. A legitimate historical event in paleontology directly related to Smilodon was the systematic excavation and study of the La Brea tar pits beginning in the early 20th century. This wasn't just random digging, it was a concerted scientific effort that transformed our understanding of the American Ice Age, providing an unparalleled snapshot of an entire ecosystem dominated by powerful predators like Smilodon. The sheer volume and quality of the fossils found there allowed scientists to conduct detailed population studies, analyze injuries, and reconstruct behavior with a level of detail rarely possible from other fossil sites. Now, for a quirky or off-color fact, because the tar at La Brea is an anaerobic environment lacking oxygen, it preserved not just bones but also the fragments of soft tissue hair and even plant material that fell in with the animals. While actual Smilodon hair is incredibly rare, the preservation of other soft tissues gives us tantalizing hints about the color and texture of their coats. Imagine a future where we could truly see the exact pattern of your fur, not just infer it from paintings. Paleontologists still debate the taphonomy of the La Brea tar pits, that is, the exact processes by which animals were trapped and preserved. Were Smilodon actively hunting trapped prey, or were they primarily drawn in by the scent of already deceased animals, or perhaps even trapped by accidentally stepping into the tar? Regardless, as we carefully extract your fossilized remains from the ancient earth, every bone, every tooth, every healed fracture tells a silent, powerful story. These are the last whispers of your magnificent life, allowing us to reconstruct your hunting strategies, your struggles, and your ultimate place in the grand tapestry of prehistoric life. As the echoes of your ancient roars fade into the annals of prehistory and your fossilized remains offer their last silent tales, we arrive at the final reflective phase of our journey, understanding, a hunter's legacy. You, the Smilodon, are more than just a collection of bones in a museum. You represent an incredible evolutionary success story, a testament to the power of adaptation, and ultimately a poignant reminder of the impermanence of even the mightiest species. Imagine your spirit still powerful, roaming the vast unseen plains of time. Your existence for millions of years shaped the ecosystems of the Americas, influencing the evolution of both your prey and your competitors. The sheer terror you instilled, the vital role you played in natural selection, ensuring that only the swiftest and strongest survived, all contributed to the rich tapestry of life on Earth. You were a critical component of a complex, dynamic world, a living, breathing force of nature that commanded respect and fear. It's like being the coolest, scariest, and ultimately most impactful character in the entire prehistoric drama. A legitimate historical event in scientific thought is the shifting perception of Smilodon from a primitive brute killer to a highly specialized, sophisticated predator. Early depictions often showed them as clumsy, slow creatures. However, decades of detailed paleontological research using biomechanics, taphonomy, and comparative anatomy have revealed a much more nuanced picture of a remarkably adapted carnivore, fine-tuned for a specific hunting niche. This evolution in understanding reflects the progress of paleontology itself. Now for a quirky or off-color fact, despite their massive size and fearsome fangs, Smilodon likely couldn't purr like a house cat. The bone structure around their larynx suggests they had a hyoid apparatus similar to lions and tigers, which allows for roaring but inhibits purring. So while you were magnificent, you probably couldn't offer that soothing rumble to your cubs. Bit of a bummer perhaps, but certainly not a deal breaker for an apex predator. Paleontologists still debate the ultimate lesson to be drawn from Smilodon's extinction. Was it simply a victim of the inevitable climatic changes, or did its hyper-specialization make it inherently more vulnerable to environmental pressures that generalist predators could withstand? Its disappearance serves as a powerful case study in paleontology, urging us to consider how species adapt, thrive, and ultimately vanish. Regardless, the legacy of Smilodon is undeniable, a symbol of raw, untamed power, a ghost of the Ice Age whose story continues to fascinate and educate us about the dynamic history of life on Earth. As the night deepens, you can almost hear the faint echoes of its ancient roars, a lullaby from a forgotten world. The long night draws to a close, and the incredible journey through the world of the Smilodon begins to gently fade. The vast, icy plains, the thunderous stampedes of mammoths, the silent, deadly pounces, and the ancient struggles for survival all recede into the soft shadows of your mind. Feel